Hello everyone and welcome to our weather updates on Saturday, January 31st, 2026. So today, this morning, we have quite a nondescript pattern over Ireland and the UK. We have a decaying area of low pressure that has brought some very heavy rain to parts of southern and eastern Ireland, as well as Wales and southern England. Current radar shows these fragmented bands of rain and showers just circulating around that area of low pressure, and it will keep on dying out through the morning. Now, it's worth noting as well that we've had Storm Chandra on Tuesday that brought some very wet weather to parts of eastern Ireland, especially also areas further east in parts of Wales and southern England. Big floods reported. It's been a big headline in the news recently, and unfortunately, the pattern will remain roughly the same for the next week. So we have this big blocking area of high pressure over Scandinavia and Siberia and Eastern Europe, bringing in this very cold easterly wind. We're trying to combine with these deep lows to our west and some very cold air down into America. That just fuels the jet stream and ensures that the low pressures keep on powering up and keep on firing in. But as they fire in, they come up against this. This is good. As these lows spawned, fueled by this big contrast in temperatures, as these come into Ireland and the UK, they basically get stuck and they become very slow moving and basically don't go anywhere very fast. And yes, we just remain under the cosh with a lot of rain and clouds. I think since about January 19th, 18th, something like that, it's rained every single day for a good chunk of time where I am, and very little sunshine. It's been extremely dull. Yeah, and unfortunately, that is how it will stay. So, moving on to our medium range, we can see what's going on now. We have some cold areas of Scotland, so yes, some snow is falling here. But elsewhere, it's a lot of cold rain, quite miserable, quite cloudy. Now, through the day itself, we'll see the showers generally fragmenting even more in most areas, but they'll keep going through many parts of the Midlands and Northern England and Scotland. That is in advance of this next area of showery rain. Again, not so strong, coming up against that block of cold air and high pressure. But behind this area of rain, it's likely that we'll see quite a decent day tomorrow for Ireland. So actually, widespread sunshine will be a big relief for those of you who want some vitamin D after all this grey weather. Right, so these clear spells move into the UK into the evening, but unfortunately by then the sun will be below the horizon, but it could be quite a nice chance to see the full moon on Sunday nights. Okay, so I believe that would be the snow moon in February. Right, so going into Monday, we can see now into Monday and Tuesday, we will get a slightly colder shock coming in. Very briefly, especially in the north. So how it happens is we see this area of rain getting stuck to our south. It comes in only very slowly, and as it does so, it will snow over parts of Wales, Northern England, parts of the hills of Ireland and Scotland. And actually in Scotland and Northern England, widely, even down to low levels, could be wintry into Tuesday. And into Wednesday, Thursday, just more of the same, a lot of clouds, a lot of rain, and slow moving rain at that. So it's quite damn miserable. Right, so moving on to temperatures then. So temperatures, really nothing much to say about these, except that they'll be about average, quite chilly at times, especially in the north. But we will go through these anyway. So today, Saturday, again, about 6, 7, 8 degrees, about average, colder in Scotland. Tonight, Lower temperatures again about 4 or 5. Nothing too amazing. A bit frosty in Scotland, and some of the highest peaks do obviously have snow cover. Into, well, tomorrow Sunday again about 6, 7, 8 degrees, 9 possibly in parts of eastern England, colder in Scotland, and actually you can see right just out to our east over the North Sea. You know, there's sea temperatures of 2 or 3 degrees here, so it's really, really tantalizing and frustrating for those of us who like cold winters. We are so close yet so far. You know, just that subtle shift southwards of these lows would have allowed for a prolonged cold spell, but unfortunately it hasn't. I was still waiting. The battle is still going on. But for now, the lows are still winning, and still moving in, stalling, and bringing a lot of rain. So into the evening, well, briefly cooler for parts of Ireland and western parts of the UK. That is because we do see an area of high pressure and calmer winds move in. So a frost will form in parts of Ireland, Wales, and southwest England there. Under clear skies, but the frost will lift a bit towards morning because we do see the advancement of this next area of rain and winds from the southwest into Monday. Now Monday, notice these colder colours to the east, they start to make inroads into parts of the UK. So by Monday afternoon, about 6, 7 degrees, and then into Monday evening, well, these colder colours do start to spill in from the east. And yeah, the cold, you can see temperatures over the North Sea by Tuesday morning about 1 degree, just on the edge there of the chart. For Ireland, Tuesday morning about 5 or 6, a bit milder still in parts of the Cornwall, Devon and Somerset. But yes, cold air briefly arrives from the east, and Tuesday is a cold day. So Ireland, away from the southwest, you're about 4, 5 or 6. And many areas of like Scotland and Northern England over high ground are below freezing. Down towards sea level, you are towards between, say, 0 and +3 degrees. And many areas of Wales and the Midlands there, between about 1 and 4. So Tuesday is quite a cold day, but that's likely to be short-lived. Wednesday morning, quite cold still, but we see another less cold push from the south to bring, again, temperatures of about 4, 5, or 6 or 7 or 8. So about average, really, going into Thursday next week. So here's the GFS for the next 2 weeks. I think so. Again, this area of low pressure is currently filling and dying away. So you can see the blocking is towards Finland into Siberia, very cold air spilling out of Siberia into many parts of Eastern and Northern Europe. We are just so close yet so far. I think that will be the title of the video. And yeah, into Sunday, we see a brief little transient ridge forming, so that grants us a nicer day. Now the low starts to struggle against the ridge combined with the block to maybe pull in some colder air into parts of the UK for a time. But, okay, yeah, so what happens is Scotland starts to tap in to more of the cold air in this scenario. While many areas of Ireland, Wales and England just stay quite mild until Friday. At that point, the lows start to move further south, the block strengthens to our north, and we start to see a more of a northeasterly airflow. And that would push in, we by the end of next week, we're into cold air. Obviously, there's so much that has to go right for this. It's a very complex pattern. Jet stream is down over Iberian, Azores, so it's about time the lows went south. And the blocking has moved also towards Greenland, and now that's allowed this whole cold wedge to start to move out of North and Eastern Europe. we go beyond that, and we could be seeing some quite big snowfalls as we see these areas of low pressure starting to try and battle against these cold air masses. Let's see what's going on here. So we have actually no, that's just cold rain. That's just cold rain. Quite surprisingly so. But I'm pretty sure that in some of these runs, cold easterly winds, really cold temperatures aloft, there'd be some snow in this pass, and there would be if it came off. And then we do go a bit milder then into mid-February with these long fetch southwesterly airflows and deep areas of low pressure. But yeah, the theme is this GFS run goes colder around Friday, and we go into more of an easterly pattern, and the lows do just shift that bit southwards to allow those easterly winds to come in. But we've kind of had these patterns showing up about 6 days in advance before, so I'm not sure how literally we can take it. ECM, right? ECM has this to say. So brief ridge on Monday, we start to strengthen the block. You can see it's a very strong block. Tuesday then we do see a colder puddle going into parts of the UK, but that it stays cold in Scotland, by the way, all of next week. But I think we in Ireland are just a bit, and the UK are a bit too far south. But it's Saturday though, the lowers again also starting to go south and putting in more of an easterly wind. So by next Sunday, well yeah, we're properly into a cold pattern there. Whether or not that verifies, it's yet to be determined. But by Tuesday, February 10th, we're into very cold air masses. -10 Celsius isotherm is even into southern England. So yeah, here is the UK Met run. So again, briefly colder for parts into Tuesday, very transient. Scotland stays quite cold really for the whole week on this run. Does it? No, it doesn't. The cold lifts just above mainland Scotland there. So yeah, it's quite touch and go. These lows just a bit further north or a bit further south makes all the difference as to how far south the cold air manages to get. Right. By next Saturday, because the UK Met run had that low further north from the get-go, it is not producing a cold easterly wind. Instead, it's keeping this area of low pressure right out of the country, and the cold air is going out into like the Faroe Islands and Iceland, and yeah, we're swamped in those yellow colours, the far north of Scotland in those colder turquoise shades. GM. Right, so again, let's see how Scotland does with this colder, more easterly airflow. So yeah, cold air sets in for Scotland on Tuesday, stays through Wednesday, then gets pushed a bit further north on Thursday, but comes back on Friday. Actually, that could be good. So yeah, we see the block go towards Greenland. That allows the lows to be pushed even further south, along with that jet stream. It's by that point even going into parts of Africa, believe it or not. It's even into Africa at that point, and the Med. Can you believe that? So of course the lowers finally going south, and we can see by next Saturday and Sunday. Well, yeah, we're into a cold pattern. It starts to be threatened from the southwest, but the block holds its ground up to February 10th, where we're still very cold. But I believe that by that point, the cold spell days will be numbered, because we do have a deep low to our west that probably will move in, and the jet stream is starting to return back northwards with this ridge from the Azores. So quite likely that if we could go on to like about Thursday, 12th of February, we would see this low, moving in to affect us like that. So icon. So again, colder air starts to flow out of Scotland more next week. upper temperatures like this. So cold air goes into Scotland on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, it stays quite cold really for Scotland all week next week. For all other areas, it's just quite tantalising. We're just a bit too far south. That easterly wind is just to our north. Let's see what happens by next weekend though. So the block is again pushing towards Greenland, and we start to see a trough forming towards Poland and the Baltic Sea, and that starts to allow a more of an easterly to possibly northeasterly wind direction. And by next Saturday, okay, that's complicated. So we have the jet stream well down towards the Azores and Biscay and like Iberia, right? But then this low starts to form and power up and the jet stream starts to push it up towards France and up towards Bay of Biscay. So yeah, that could go either the low just comes up over the country, stalls and just stops a lot of rain, possibly snow in the north, or the low kind of gets stuck where it is over Biscay and just allows the colder easterly airflow to come in. The block isn't as strong also on the icon, but upper temperatures by next Saturday are cold in many areas of the east and north, especially. Finally, we have the arpège. Okay, so right, ridge of high pressure into tomorrow and Monday, then a chillier easterly wind flow moves in. So you see colder air just starts. It's really quite tantalising. It's in Scotland. We are so close yet so far. I think that on the arpège, the lows are that bit stronger. So if we could run this on, just given how the miles or less cold air is already trying to push that colder wind out of Scotland by Wednesday morning, and there's quite a deep low towards Bay of Biscay, I think that the arpège would not favour a colder transition towards the end of next week. Also, the block is also not that great towards Greenland, is it? Not really. But it might just be starting to form. Well, let's compare that with the GEM. That had quite a good block. GEM went next Wednesday at 6 a.m. 6 o'clock Wednesday. So with the GEM, it was stronger, more focused towards, I think, East Greenland and Iceland, whereas on the arpège, slightly further north. It's a very small difference, but just given how the lows are more intense and the block is very slightly less intense and a bit further north with the arpège, I think that is the subtle difference that would keep the rain and mild air going on, if you will. Right, that's it for today. Oh my god, it's been quite a wild second half of January. Many areas of, as you know, Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, Siberia, absolutely plunged into the depths of the freezer, whereas we here in Ireland and the UK are missing out. We're just on the periphery, but it's a very sharp margin, It's either like we're really cold or we're just mild and wet. There's no in-between area. There's no grey area. It's just either or. And we've got, for now, the mild and wet. And for at least the next week, we have the mild and wet away from Scotland. But even there, it's not concrete. Oh, that's a nice way to start a Saturday morning. Anyway, everyone, thanks for watching. I will see you probably next week. And but for now, I wonder what we'll be talking about next week. I wonder what it will be.